Hello and welcome to the exam analysis for XAT 2022. The exam was conducted on 2nd January. Essay writing was brought back to the paper after a gap of 3 years. XAT 2022 had two parts. Part 1 with 75 questions and Part 2 with 27, which included two essay writing topics. The 75 questions of Part 1 carried 1 mark each with 0.25 negative marking for incorrect answers and were distributed across 3 sectionals: VALR 26 questions, Decision Making 21, QADI 28 questions. There was a 0.10 negative marking for all unattempted questions above a total of 8. GK questions carried 1 mark each with no negative marking for incorrect or unattempted questions. Let us now look at section-wise exam analysis. Verbal ability and logical reasoning sectional had 26 questions like last year's VALR. These 26 questions comprised 4 reading comprehension passages of 300-400 words with 3 questions each, 3 questions of grammar, 2 sentence completion questions, 2 para-jumbles, 4 critical reasoning questions and interestingly 2 poems. Vikram Seth was back this year with his poem Mistaken carrying 2 questions and poem Immigrant by Tabish Khair carried 1 question. All 3 were moderate. Grammar questions were of error detection type, one required to identify the correct sentences, another incorrect sentences, and third required detecting wrong use of prepositions. The question of incorrect sentences was quite tricky and the other 2 were easy. Para-jumbles had 5 sentences, one was difficult with 2 distinct ideas. 3 of the CR questions were best concluded and 1 was cannot be inferred. One of the sentence completion was very easy, but second, which had blanks for the adjective starting with unplanned, was quite tricky. RCs again were a departure from the abstract RCs of yesterday's XAT. The RCs on stupidity, hedonic, and eudaimonic ways of life were easier than the RCs on publicness, and lying versus bullshitting were moderate to difficult. Let us take a moment to look at the question type, number of questions and difficulty level for this section. Overall, the sectional can be termed as moderate. About 16 attempts with 80% accuracy in 50 to 55 minutes can be considered a good score. The decision-making sectional had 21 questions distributed across 7 caselets with 3 questions each. Interestingly, most caselets this year were situational caselets, with only 1 business caselet. Though in terms of passage length, these were like those of 2021, the 3 arrange in decreasing order questions were challenging and time-consuming. Overall, the closeness and trickiness of options made this sectional moderate to difficult. Take a moment to look at the table. Overall, this sectional too can be termed as moderate. About 14 to 15 attempts with 80% accuracy in 50 minutes can be considered a good score. The QA and DI section had 28 questions. The QA questions were majorly very straightforward and had no lengthy calculations. On the other hand, most of the questions from data interpretation were time-consuming and difficult. The number of data interpretation questions saw a drastic increase compared to the earlier editions of XAT. There were 4 sets of DI each containing 3 questions. The other standout feature of this section was unusually high number of questions from number systems. Look at the detailed breakup of QA-DI section. An attempt of 16 questions with 85 to 90% accuracy can be said to fetch a good score of 12.5, which can consider 98 percentiles. The part 2, which included general awareness, with 25 questions on a diverse mix of topics like business and finance, space exploration, science, history, sports, geography, books, literature, politics, current affairs, etc., this section was moderate. There was also a question on XLRI alumni, who has been recently appointed as Deputy National Security Advisor. For essay writing, 2 topics were provided, of which the second seemed to resonate easily with students. The word limit was 250. The space provided for essay input did not allow for paragraph breaks. The first essay was Capitalism and Democracy Follow Different Paths. Unequally distributed property rights on the one hand and political rights on the other, hierarchical decision making by managers and capital owners versus debate, compromise and decision making within democratic politics. Therefore, they cannot coexist. The second essay was, In management, we do not need people who never experienced a setback. Such people are highly averse to taking risks. Because these schools majorly focus on stellar academic achievements during admission, the selected students turn out to be average managers. Let us now look at the sectional synopsis of XAT 2022. QA and DI overall moderate, ideal time 60 minutes, good attempts 16 plus, good score 12.5 plus. Similarly, VALR moderate, 55 minutes ideal time, 16 plus good attempts, 12.5 plus is a good score. For DM, the difficulty level is moderate, 50 minutes ideal time, good attempts 14 plus, good score 10 plus. And overall, the difficulty level could be said to be moderate, 165 minutes ideal time, 46 plus good attempts and 35 plus good score. Predicted scores for different percentiles. Score at 96 percentile, Quant 10.5 plus, VALR 11.5 plus, DM 9 plus and overall 30.5 plus. Score at 90 percentile, Quant 9 plus, VALR 10 plus, DM 7.5 and overall 24.5 plus. Score at 80 percentile, Quant 6.5 plus, VALR 7 plus, DM 5 plus and overall 17 plus. These are all approximate scores basis faculty and student feedback. Let us look at the predicted cutoffs for XAT 2022 for XLRI BM, Quant 90 percentile, VALR 80 percentile, DM 80 percentile and overall 96 percentile. That for XLRI HRM, Quant 75 percentile, VALR 80 percentile, DM 75 percentile and overall 94 percentile. Here's wishing all the XAT 2022 aspirants all the very best. Dream, endeavor, achieve.